Hello, it is Sunday, July 24th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Sunday puzzle today, so we have a large grid, and it's a very special puzzle today, as it turns out. I guess we'll get to that in a moment. But this special edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by, in part, another new benefactor to the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. So thank you and welcome to the intriguingly and evocatively named Casvius Echoes. Thank you, Casvius Echoes, for becoming a benefactor of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for which you will soon receive the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug and all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel. And Casvius Echoes is joined in his support by Trash Snack, as well as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, the invaluable Connor O'Neill, and the infallible Cynthia Toms. Sorry, the inimitable Connor O'Neill. Little slip there. Anyway, thank you so much to the 6 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. They are, as I said, entitled to the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, as well as this recognition, and like all patrons of the channel, the bonus videos that have gone up to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week, including this week's speed solve of mini puzzles and the interesting and, I thought, entertaining vowel-less crossword that I solved. I think I published that one on Saturday. And so if you would like to become a patron, you can find that information at patreon.com/dailysolve, and there's a link in the description field underneath the video. Thank you to everybody who has done so at every level. I do very much appreciate it. And again, welcome and thank you to Casvius Echoes. And now let's get on to today's puzzle. Oh, do subscribe to the channel to the YouTube channel, if you think I deserve a subscription. And thank you to everybody who's done so. All right, this is a puzzle, a Sunday puzzle entitled "Going Somewhere?" ? And it was constructed by Jesse Trudeau and Ross Trudeau, who, so Ross Trudeau is an extremely experienced crossword constructor. He's constructed over 50 puzzles for the New York Times and constructs his own puzzles on his own website, Rosswords. But Jesse Trudeau was Jessie Bullock, his fiancée, until apparently today, when they are getting married. So she is becoming Jesse Trudeau, and they've collaborated on a few puzzles before. I think this is maybe their 3rd or 4th collaboration. So, one moment. I might need to get this phone. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. It was the bank, so I figured I should take the call. It was one of those automated fraud prevention things. Anyway, so that's the story with Jesse Trudeau and Ross Trudeau. So I have no idea if this puzzle is going to commemorate this occasion in any way. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. It's called "Going Somewhere." Sunday puzzles, as always, are the only titled puzzles in the New York Times. And let's start solving. So Yankee Stadium has 24 of these. I don't know, is it tiers, perhaps? I mean, I don't know if that's the terminology you use there, but let's see. Scatters could be sows, as in seeds. Prone to brooding, say. If you're raw, perhaps, over something that's happened to you, I'm not very confident about that. Prone to brooding, say. Some black and white pictures. Let's keep looking. Latin for "I believe." I wish I just knew this off the top of my head. And a rosebud ravager. An aphid, maybe? I don't know. Don't know about any of this. Although sows, I'm the most confident of among these answers, but not confident enough to leave it in, so perhaps I won't. These S's are probably correct, however. So let's keep looking. In the thick of could be amid. Organization with X-rays. The American Medical Association, whose logo is not the caduceus, as I incorrectly stated yesterday. We'll get to that in the corrections. Put on, I don't actually know if it's this, but it's just sort of it was an excuse to correct myself from yesterday early. Dance shoe attachments. Not sure. Shape of a heron's neck. It's sort of in an S, right? Home of the Simpson and Flanders households. Well, those are characters from The Simpsons, but they live in a city named Springfield, but I don't know what state, and also that doesn't... Yeah, I don't know. Rocker Bob with 10 top 10 albums. Bob Seger, I guess? Casper competitor. So Casper is one of those... It's one of those mattress brands. I have, as many... I'm not a current podcaster, but I was one for over a decade, and like many podcasters, I have been sponsored by Casper. So that's what comes to mind when I see Casper. And other mattress brands include Serta and Sealy. Could try these maybe. They each have an E as the second letter. Cheney and Harris, informally. Those are vice presidents, former and current vice presidents, respectively. So VEPs of the United States, that is, specifically. And one side of DC's Federal Triangle. I don't know. I don't actually know DC, Washington, D.C. very well. I've only been there a few times. iPhone app with a graph in its icon. iPhone app, Google Sheets maybe? Does that have a graph in its icon? I actually don't know if it does. Marsh birds could be egrets. All right, this corner looks like the place to be. All right, so home of the Simpson and Flanders household. I don't know. I wonder if this is somehow referring to something else, but I don't know what it would be. Oh, so Serta is the Casper competitor, it looks like, with that R from egrets. Thank you, egrets. And iPhone app with a graph in its icon. What is this? I don't know. It's not one I use regularly, I don't think. Can't bring it to mind. It's a huge deal. And never you worry. Bouquet, some sort of aromas, floral, reggae-like genre. You could say ska, arguably. Oh, Stocks, maybe? Is there a Stocks iPhone app? Oh, that might be one of the default apps that I always remove when I set up my phone. I suspect that's the case. Initials on some handbags could be YSL for Yves Saint Laurent, the French designer and fashion mark. And it's a huge deal. A steal, right. You got something deeply on sale. It's a steal. It's a huge deal. Okay, never you worry. Fret not. There we go. And that's well clued, because that's those sort of match in tone. Never you worry. Fret not. You could imagine the same sort of maybe, I don't know, a grandparent or someone saying that sort of thing to you. Okay. Oh, this must be Pennsylvania Avenue. Yes, I think I got that. So that is the street on which the White House is located. So not the residence of the vice presidents, the VEPs who cross Pennsylvania Avenue here, but I'm sure they spend plenty of time there. And a bouquet is a fragrance. There we go, right. I said aroma, should have kept thinking of synonyms. Okay, so the home of the Simpsons and Flanders. I don't know, do they live maybe on Evergreen Avenue or something? No, that's not enough letters. I don't know. I don't recognize this, so I don't think it's within my personal knowledge bank. State fair. You could have a state fair, an expo, kind of carnival. Carnival's not the right word, but a fair. Evening. Oh, so we have evening to Eve, who probably not the Eve of handbag fame, but just a sort of generic French person. So soir, evening in French. This really looks like Evergreen. I'm going to put that in because I think that's probably the beginning bit. And actress Di Matteo. Once again, I think this is knowledge I don't possess. Profess could be to aver, to state something, to state it as fact, essentially. End of semester form could be an evaluation, I suppose. End of anything form, really, I would have thought was evaluation. And gumption is nerve. You've got gumption, you've got nerve. Provider of a ball and thread in myth, Ariadne, Greek myth. And the necessities for drug approvals or trials. You must put your drugs through sufficient clinical trial in order for them to be approved. And blank club, Elks Club. Elks is one of those things that's like, I don't know, are they sort of in between something like the Rotary Club and the Masons, maybe? Not secretive like the Masons, but more clubby than the Rotary Club. I don't know. I don't know very much about any of these organizations, but I think that might be the answer. I do know much more confidently that the Egyptian symbol of life, for the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, is the Ankh. There we go. And so Elks Club, I think, is correct. And to spill the tea is to dish, to share the sort of juicy gossip. And then a theater rebuke could be shh. I was at the theater yesterday, and no such rebukes were necessary. I saw Jerusalem by Jez Butterworth, starring Mark Rylance and Mackenzie Crook. It was quite extraordinary, I must say. Okay. Seat for the Queen. Wonder if this is some kind of misdirection and we're actually talking about a queen bee or something like that, but I don't know. Made good progress with this side of the grid, though, so this was the place to focus, at least for me. Setting of 2 Shakespeare plays. Oh, Verona. Verona was the setting of 2 Shakespeare plays. And then you might be advised to do this for yourself. To do what for yourself? I don't know offhand. What about this? Listen in Leon. Oye? Is that listen in Spanish? And then nautical agree. Yeah, okay, well, at least the Y looks correct because nautical agreement could be I. And uh-oh could be yikes, maybe? Turn inside out could be. Seems like it would be a V. Aunt Blank, role in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't think I've seen the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air since it Bel-Aired on television in the 1990s. So I don't really remember the character names, but Viv is a name, so perhaps my suspicion about V was correct here. And NFL star Elliot to fans. I don't know. Zeke or Deke or something. Looks like they could be names. Part of a skincare routine. And In Search of Lost Time novelist. In Search of Lost Time is, this is infuriating. I keep wanting to say Sartre, but it's not. Boy, that's frustrating. Anyway, member of Generation Z, jocularly, is a Zoomer? And is that a thing? I think it is. I've heard Zoomer before. I suppose it must be Generation Z. So this does look like Zeke to me. And turn inside out is evert, right. Oh, Proust. Sorry, Proust. Boy, that was frustrating. It was they're on the tip of my tongue, and I just couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't land it. All right, there we go. And busy businesswoman in a rom-com, e.g., is. I don't know exactly what that wants. Part of a skincare routine, toner maybe, and university VIP, and the clue being abbreviated indicates the answer will be as well. A provost maybe, PROV. Apply to and split, then come together. Oh, elope. Oh, that's very clever. That's a fun little, perhaps a nod to the circumstance. Well, I don't think they're eloping, but yeah, it's just a very clever clue in that to split, in other words, to get out of town and then come together to wed, to marry. Very clever. Okay. Oh, I see. A busy businesswoman in a rom-com is a trope. Right. I see. So a trope, in other words, a kind of common pattern you see repeated in fiction. I suppose it doesn't need to be fiction, but in this case it is. And football cry would be olé, and we have a hint in that direction because football is spelled in the Spanish manner, and so we have olé. And apply to is to lever to what? What is this? coup result. Oh, maybe this isn't provost, but a prof, a professor, and then refer to. Okay, the VIP was making me think it was maybe something high, maybe someone there of whom there were fewer maybe than professors, but I don't know. I guess it was probably that. Did we ever look at this again? Enter Evergreen. I just don't know what this is. Maybe it's the name of a neighborhood in Springfield. I'm not going to know it though. What about this? Noted shopping mecca. What are noted shopping meccas? Fifth Avenue, New York. There's the Champs-Élysées in Paris. What else? There's the Mall of America. I don't know, Regent Street or something here in London. I don't know. I feel like I'm probably going down the wrong road. Actress de Matteo. Yeah, I just don't know what that is. I'm going to need the cross for the whole thing. Aria, maybe? I don't know. Okay. Model world, a globe. And fictional documentarian from Kazakhstan. Oh, the Sacha Baron Cohen character. Why can I not think of his name? Borat. There we go. And level could be a tier. Okay, which if that is the answer, it means one across is almost certainly not tiers because we're not going to repeat an answer that way. You might be advised to do this for yourself. See for yourself. Someone might advise you. Yes, indeed. There we go. Oh, this looks like Evergreen Terrace. Okay. This must be the name of their neighborhood. I don't think I ever knew that. And I suppose it's probably the kind of thing that comes up in maybe one or two episodes, but isn't frequently mentioned. Seat for the Queen. Oh, okay. This is not what I thought it was. This is actually referring to the Queen of the United Kingdom. And I should have known because it's capitalized and Queen Bee wouldn't be, but I thought maybe there was just some kind of punny thing going on there. Anyway, it means a seat, as in an arse, your rear end. And it simply means in the British, in British English is all that's referring to. Okay. Oh, Rodeo Drive is another one of the. Okay, I actually was on the right track with trying to think of essentially major shopping streets, and Rodeo Drive is one of those in Los Angeles. Okay, big name in jet skis, Ski-Doo. Are we going to use ski, though? I don't think so. Maybe. It's surprising to me if it were skis in the clue and then we had Ski-Doo in the answer. Maybe there's a different. Maybe Ski-Doo is the one for snowmobiles or something, and this has something else. I'm not sure. Point in a network could be a node in a network, and a square type could be a nerd, a dork. And where all the people that come and go stop and say hello in a 1967 hit, Penny Lane by the Beatles, Paul McCartney song. And okay, so, oh, right, this isn't Ski-Doo, it's Sea-Doo. Okay, very good. Okay, I actually don't know that if I necessarily was aware of that particular brand name, but it's easy enough to infer. It rhymes. And locale for a rock climber, a mountain range, a range? I don't know if that's correct. We'll see. Singer White with the 1991 number one hit, Romantic. Don't think I know offhand. And Bolivar, who was known as the Liberator. I don't think this is range then. Simone Bolivar, what is this? Locale for a rock climber. Oh, a gorge, maybe. That could be it. Actress Thurman is Uma Thurman. And Karen White, maybe? The 1991 number one hit, Romantic. To call into question is to impugn. I kind of suspected it was going to be impugn before looking at the clue because that UGN didn't leave very many options. Easternmost leg of I-90 familiarly. So this is Interstate 90. I don't know where that is in the United States. It'll be a major highway in the U.S., but I don't know it. I'm not sure, sorry. Suffix with fool or fiend, foolish or fiendish, and Opus Dei, I would think this is, and which is what, the Holy See, and Bag for a diamond. Bag for a diamond. Stacey of Georgia politics. Oh, Stacey Abrams is a U.S. Politician. And bag for a diamond. Base? Is it something to do with baseball terminology? Do they call bases bags or something in baseball slang? I don't know. If we did put that in, would that help? Easternmost leg of I-90 familiarly. It probably would help if I had any clue about this, which I don't think I do. Pool locales. Pool locales. Oh, spas maybe? Are there sort of, I don't know, like in natural spas, I suppose, as opposed to kind of hotel spas or that kind of thing. That would make sense. So nail polish brand is Opie, which we learned, or I learned anyway, in a recent comment. And one prone to idle thoughts. So idle thoughts, the way that idle is spelled indicates a idol in a religious sense, so some kind of worshiper, an idol worshiper, you might say, but that's not going to be the answer because idol is already in the clue. Scatters, okay, so scatters was sows after all, which was my original thought. So we're going to need to figure this out. Massachusetts something maybe? I-90. I don't know what this is. I'm guessing this is base, and this is going to be mass something, but I just don't know what it is. Dance shoe attachments probably ends with an S. That in Spanish could be eso or esa. Bundles. Okay, so I think it's esa, the feminine. So bundles would be sheafs. And put on, wear or don. Organization with x-rays. And yellowfin tuna is ahi. And put on is to air, as in to put on, to put on a program on television, to air it. There we go. And dance shoe attachments. Taps, as in dancing shoes for tap dancing. Oh, and then the TSA, right? The organization with X-rays is the Transportation Security Agency or whatever, which does the airport checks with X-rays. So okay, or they can use X-rays anyway. So all right, that all looks right to me. In fact, so let's look around. Clubs often require them for short. IDs, I don't know. Moor could be, I don't know, a pier where you moor a ship. Oh, it could be dock. To dock a ship, to moor a ship. There we go. That's better. That's better. And the reason I thought maybe that was the case is because a rosebud ravager could be an aphid, which I think was aphid the answer to a recent Wordle, or was it just one of my guesses in a recent Wordle? I think it was the answer. I think aphid was the answer to a Wordle within the last few days. Okay, Yankee Stadium has 24 of these. Still not sure. Areas, that seems very vague. Bit of publicity. A photo, perhaps? Seems pretty open as well. One prone to idle thought. Oh, hero worshiper, maybe. There we go. Ah, right. Idle thoughts. You're sort of thinking about this person you really admire, I suppose. And clubs often require them for short. Could be IDs. Latin for I believe. Oh, the ego would be the I. Not sure about photo here. Clubs, maybe this isn't. Some black and white pictures. I'm going to keep looking. Hopefully I can get that big 3 down, and that will help me with these things. Break up clods. Break up clods. To what? To hoe, maybe? Oops. You break up clods of earth with a hoe. Former New York City Mayor Ed Koch. And more like an empty old mansion at night, say. Eerier, it's more like that, it's eerier. One looking for missing persons is a something, or I suppose a tracer, maybe? Is that a name for such a person? And transport on the slopes could be a T-bar, one of the mechanisms you can use to get up a ski slope, a T-bar. Two-colored is, flick as a cigarette informally, to ash your cigarette, to flick the ashes off of it. And disappearing sculpture medium would be ice, self-explanatorily. And then blank hall, a rec hall, a recreational hall, maybe like a community center. Stop lying is to rise, I suppose, literally to stop lying down, not to stop telling falsehoods. And two colored is, oh, bichromatic, or is there any way this is a rebus? I haven't filled in any rebuses elsewhere in the puzzle, though. Can you simply say bichrome? Mass pi. This looks weird too, though. I don't quite understand what's going on. I think something's happening that I don't understand. It is a Sunday puzzle, so it will be themed, by the way. I didn't mention that, but that is the case. Celebrity chef Dispirito. I don't think I know this person. Rocco. I don't know, Rocco maybe? Stylish flair. Oh, éclat. Yeah. You could do something with éclat. Combines in a way, melds maybe? All right, this isn't going to help me out here. I'm going to have to figure it out on my own. I thought the extra crosses are doing nothing. Neighbor of Curacao. That's an island. Is Aruba neighbor of Curacao? Let's check the crosses on that. John Cho's role in Star Trek films. He played the Sulu part, right? I saw one of those. And an English landing spot. What is that getting at? Like some cars and kisses are stolen. You could steal a kiss, steal a car. And suit could be several things. What about this? Botch is to flub or ruin, maybe? Suit, I'm not sure about all of this. This is looking sort of weird. What about this? Edith Wharton's Ruin of a Man. And home of Nobel Peace Prize winner Shirin Ebadi. Suit is, don't know. Oh, befit maybe? If something suits you, it befits you. So botch is, I don't know, duff maybe or something? To muff, that's better. That's better. So English landing spot. Oh, an aerodrome. Why is that English? Is that not used in U.S. English, the term aerodrome? Maybe it's less common in the U.S. and that's why it says English. So that actually, and that's right before the seat for the Queen. So we've got these two, I suppose, British English answers consecutively. Anyway, I think that's all correct over there. So scratch out could be eke out, as in a living, scratch out a living, eke out a living. That's a common usage of that word. And stick with it is what, tack, as in sort of sticky tack or something? Don't think so. But the reason I thought maybe that was the answer is because when you see this exclamation point, sometimes what it means is instead of so most of the time in the crossword, answers are synonyms or at least can be replaced by their answers. So that's why sometimes you'll see me sort of create a hypothetical sentence and then try and substitute the answer in for it to try and imagine what word it could be. When you see this exclamation point, that often means that isn't the case. And instead, the clue is describing the answer or could be said about the answer. So stick with it, tape, or something like that, glue. You see what I mean? Whereas you wouldn't use the word glue in a sentence the same place you'd use the words stick with it. That wouldn't make any sense. So that's often what the exclamation point means. And memo opener, often. Well, often a memo opens with INRE in regard to, but, attention. No, those are all 4 letters long. What does a memo begin with? I don't know. Sorry. Sure, it'll be obvious when I see it. That's rough. And downwind locales for ships. And now could be ASAP or stat. Probably stat, because hits high note in high places is probably going to itself end with an S. So hits high notes in high places. Oh, yodels. Yodels, because it involves pushing the voice up into that upper register, and also because it is stereotypically associated with, say, the Alps. All right, memo opener often. For your eyes or something, or for your information, maybe. FYI, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking maybe for your eyes only, but once again, that would be 4 letters, not three. I don't know why I kept thinking that, but for your information. And that's rough could be oof or something, maybe. Stick with it. Oh, a fork. Right. Stick food with it. And some coding statements are if, so that's a conditional statement. If this, then do that. All right, so what is this? Something that ends with cards. Some black and white pictures are... Something is going on here. What is this? I'm just not seeing it. Bit of publicity. So I'm going to put photo back in here for a moment. Prone to brooding doesn't really look good. Hero worshiper, that seems fairly likely. What else can we do here? All right, I'm just going to keep solving the puzzle, and I'm going to worry about all this later because I might find something that helps me out. Bearer, okay, I haven't seen this yet. Bearer of roses, maybe, is... Bearer of roses, maybe. I don't know, a suitor or a beau, maybe? Yes, someone who is, I guess an example of a suitor would be a beau. Someone who's romantically pursuing somebody. Cherry and peach, they're drupes, they're fruits, they could be hues. And sorry, I should have borne in mind, cherry and peach means we're referring to both of these. So it's a plural answer. We're not just referring to one or the other, which would be cherry or peach. So it would have ended with an S, almost certainly, unless the word were pluralized in an alternative manner. Rikishi's sport. Not sure offhand. What about this one? Edith Wharton's Ruin of a Man. Ethan Frome. There we go. And home of Nobel Peace Prize winner Shirin Ebadi. Iran, maybe? Or Iraq? I'm not sure offhand, but probably there's an A there. Word with American or amber. Amber ale or American ale are types of beer. And spilled the tea is told. Oh, that's funny. Didn't we have something else? Didn't we have dish or something? Yeah, we did. We had spill the tea is dish and spilled the tea is told. So once you have completed your dish, you have been said to have told, I suppose. This doesn't look like Iraq. This looks like Iran, which was my suspicion initially. Combined could be, I was going to say melded, but we had, and look at that, combines in a way and then combined. So it won't be melded, but it could be, I don't know. I was going to say met, but that's obviously not nearly enough letters. Let's keep looking around. A whiz could be an ace. Blank Schneider, winningest woman in Jeopardy history. I don't know. I've not really regularly watched Jeopardy since I was a child, I guess, realistically. Amy, I don't know. It's a name that Anne. They're names that would fit in 3 letters and begin with an A. That's my guess. Don't be that guy, sometimes people say. So this is probably Amy. Habitual fear of being exposed as a fraud, imposter syndrome. I must admit I'm somewhat familiar with this. Anyway, coup result would be an ouster, and combined is merged. There we go. Aphorism that's visually depicted 5 times in this puzzle's grids. All roads lead to Rome. Okay, great. So what does that mean? We had Evergreen Terrace leads to Rome in imposter syndrome. Oh, look at that. This is going to be very clever. Here's another Rome. So which one leads to this? We have Rodeo Drive leads to Rome. Oh, very good. Okay, so what is this? Easternmost leg of I-90 familiarly. Oh, well, it'll end with an E, won't it? Because it'll be Rome. So Mass Pike. It must be the Massachusetts Turnpike. Okay, this isn't knowledge that I possess, but thank you, theme, for I knew it was the right thing to just keep solving the puzzle. because that gives us this E that creates Rome in bichrome, and then, which is the answer to two-colored, finally. And then that gave us mass pice, and I was fairly confident about all the rest of these answers, except for, of course, this name I didn't know, which must be Karen with a K, not a C. That was a mistake on my part to assume that. I should have kept in mind, I don't know this name. It could be spelled in a different manner, and indeed it was. And this is Mass Pike, which this must be short for the Massachusetts Turnpike. And there we go. Great. All right, I think I understand the puzzle now. Finally. So is Rome at the end? It's at the very end, right? Because all roads lead to them eventually. So where else does this occur? How many does it say? 5 times. Okay, great. So we have 1 here, Pennsylvania Avenue, 2, Evergreen Terrace. So that must be the road, not the neighborhood on which the Simpsons and Flanders live. 3, Rodeo Drive. Oh, and are they diagonally disposed here? That is very clever, if so. They're following this diagonal pattern. Yes, I think they are. Yes, Penny Lane intersects with Aerodrome. Mass Pike intersects with Bichrome. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. So we've done the theme. Very clever. And I'm not surprised at all that a crossword co-constructed by Ross Trudeau would have this level of tidiness to the theme. Look at this. And we even have this sort of this diagonal pattern of black cells that are running along our all roads lead to Rome diagonal sort of disposition here. That is very good. Very, very good. And by the way, that I didn't think to mention when I started the puzzle, because I didn't really examine it very closely, that this puzzle is symmetrical about a diagonal axis here. So if we folded the puzzle along this diagonal line that contains all of our Rome meeting points, the black cells would be in symmetrical positions. And usually New York Times crosswords are radially symmetrical. So if you rotated the puzzle, it would be symmetrical. But in this case, diagonally is used less often, but when needed by a constructor. And I think in this case, it's so that our co-constructors could get these big long answers here in these corner shapes. Look at this. It's just gorgeously constructed. And all of the crossing bits are of equivalent length as well. So Pennsylvania Avenue and all roads lead to Rome are the same length. Similarly, so for Evergreen Terrace and Imposter Syndrome, Ethan Frome and Rodeo Drive, Aerodrome and Penny Lane, and Bichrome and Mass Pike. This is very clever. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the puzzle. What else do we have? Downwind locale for ships. Ah, yes, okay. So I thought this was going to involve lee, which refers to the kind of sheltered side of the sort of downwind side. But I don't know what the rest of the word is, so we'll keep going. Of whom Celine Dion said, if God would have a singing voice, he must sound a lot like... I don't know, I wish I could just fill that in. Blank the economy, stupid. It's the economy, stupid. That was, I think, famously catchphrase used by James Carville, who was Bill Clinton's campaign manager in Bill Clinton's winning presidential campaign, or one of them anyway. Got together in, met at, straightforwardly enough. White as a sheet is pallid, perhaps. If you're ill, maybe you could be pallid. And edify is to teach somebody to something. I think I said that backwards. Teach something to somebody, to edify them. First pope to be called the Great, Saint Leo the Great. And, Bocelli, Andrea Bocelli, I suppose, is of whom Celine Dion was speaking. And then pros with floors are tilers, I suppose. They're professionals who deal with floors. That makes sense. Okay, downwind locales for ships are lee shores. That makes sense. Okay. And ultimate needs are... Ultimate needs... Oh, I see. Sorry. It's not right. So it's a bit of misdirection. It doesn't mean your ultimate need, your highest need. It means... or your eventual need, I suppose. It could be either of those. It means a need for the game that I think is often referred to as ultimate, which is a sort of flying disc or frisbee-based game. So discs are what we need here. And then any of the Uruk-hai in the Lord of the Rings are orcs, the monstrous creatures from Lord of the Rings. And word with half or hard, half-ass, hard-ass is there. And then, as we have ass and arse in this puzzle. And then Paul, who was People Magazine's 2021 Sexiest Man Alive. I guess it must be Paul Rudd. That's funny, but fair enough. And then Rikishi's sport is surf. Oh, right. Yeah, I kind of recognize that word as being surfing related. Or is it? This looks surprisingly. Maybe it's not. Boy, I really thought that was something that rung a bell for me, but I guess not. So what is it actually? Tremendous success is a smash hit, maybe? Oh, sumo. Okay, that is not familiar to me. Rikishi sport. That must be a sumo term or name. The fact that I don't even know which shows my level of knowledge about sumo wrestling. And squawked in pain is yowled. Dilly dallies is dawdles. And loved, if something is loved, it is dear to you. And title on Netflix's Bridgerton. I've not seen Bridgerton, but I know it's sort of, the characters are aristocrats, right? So probably lady would be a title in there. And unit of cauliflower is a head of cauliflower. And if something is parched, it's dry. So Latin for I believe. What else do we have here? We have some black and white pictures. Okay, so what kind of cards are these? Some black and white pictures. Why can't I place this? We have prone to brooding, say. Prone to brooding, say. Is there any way hero worshippers, or hero worshipper, I should say, is incorrect? I don't really know what I'm missing here. Yankee Stadium has 24 of these. Some black and white pictures are... I mean, it obviously ends in cards. So... Oh, Rorschach cards? As in a Rorschach test with the black and white sort of ink blot drawings that are used in kind of psychological evaluation at times, or maybe evaluation is the wrong word, but kind of psychoanalysis, I guess. Rorschach cards, that must be what it is. That explains why I was having trouble sort of inferring what was going on with the words up here, or the arrangement of these letters. And then, so maybe clubs often require them. Maybe that is indeed IDs. And then Yankee Stadium. So this must be a photo, a bit of publicity. Oh, what is this, though? Prone to brooding. What is going on over here? Oh, promo as in promotion, bit of publicity, promotion. This little corner is just shockingly resistant. Oh, prone to brooding is emo, as in emotional? That is surprising. And the Yankee Stadium must be 24 acres inside. Oh, size. And then Latin for I believe is credo. Right, that I really should have been able to infer that, but I didn't. And I think that is everything. It is. That was a long solve, but an excellent puzzle, I must say. And this, everything up here, in retrospect, except for maybe emo, which is an incredibly cute answer, I would say. Other than that, I would say everything in here was entirely fair. I'm not saying emo was unfair. It was the sort of slightly cute answer, but everything else up here was entirely reasonable, I think. And I just wasn't on the ball. The rest of the puzzle, I think, went fairly smoothly. I think this was really the main area that caused me to struggle, and I was constantly suspicious that I was missing a theme that was maybe more involved than it was, until, of course, we found all roads lead to Rome and understood what was going on with this very well-authored grid here. And then I stopped looking for rebuses and such things. So anyway, all roads lead to Rome in this puzzle, and those roads include Mass Pike, presumably the Massachusetts Turnpike, Penny Lane, Rodeo Drive, Evergreen Terrace, and finally Pennsylvania Avenue, which intersects with our revealer that explains what's going on in this puzzle. And the revealer, of course, is the explanatory clue and answer that tie together the whole theme. And I needed it this time. I've had some pretty good, in the last couple of weeks, I think I've had some pretty good theme intuitions in which I've understood what was going on in the theme and filled things in quickly. In this puzzle, I really needed the revealer, as it turned out. But it was a great one. It was one of those themes that's not so much a complicated theme mechanic. It's just a very, very well constructed bit of grid setting, and it really is. I mean, it's just so symmetrically and so beautifully constructed. And in fact, no, never mind. I was going to say something that's incorrect, so I won't. But it's just very well constructed with this diagonal running through it and the equal length clues. It's well done. So well done to Jesse Trudeau and Ross Trudeau, and also definitely congratulations to them on the occasion of their wedding. And that's that for today's puzzle. So let's move on to some clues from yesterday's puzzle, which we can quickly discuss, because it already has been well over 40 minutes now. So, dragon traces. This is the correction to which I alluded earlier. The AMA symbol is the staff of Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine and son of Apollo, the god of healing, and Coronis. I think it is interesting and fitting that two of his 5 daughters were Hygeia and Panacea. That makes sense. Makes sense that he thinks it's interesting and fitting given the health connotations there. The staff has only one snake. It is often mistakenly thought to be the caduceus, which is sometimes translated from the Greek as herald's wand. The caduceus has some interesting connections, though none are medical: commerce, diplomacy, and a bit more eyebrow-raising, lying, thievery, and alchemy. The confusion is thought to possibly come simply from the idea that the caduceus is more pleasing to the eye, due mostly to its greater symmetry. Right, so the caduceus is the winged staff with 2 snakes climbing up it, and the staff of Asclepius is a staff with a single snake, a non-winged staff with a single snake climbing up. And yes, you're right, I did confuse that terminology, and it is the single staved symbol, the single snaked staff that is the medical symbol, the staff of Asclepius, and is indeed the one used by medical organizations the world over. Apparently, the U.S., some medical branch of the U.S. Army, the U.S. Medic Corps, or something like that, uses the caduceus, and has done since 1906 or so. And apparently there was one particular officer who repeatedly tried to get that instituted as the logo and kept being denied because it was the wrong one, and then eventually managed to just get it through. And now it has been that for over 100 years. And as a result, apparently seemingly as a direct result of that, there are a number of commercial medical organizations that do in fact use the caduceus as their logo, whereas professional medical organizations exclusively appear to use correctly the staff of Asclepius. Anyway, thank you for that correction, Dragon Traces. And then Telegnostic had a similar correction and pointed out Asclepius was a Greek god of medicine, while the caduceus is the symbol of Hermes, the Greek god of commerce and various other things. All right, Dragon Traces is back for another explanation. Wiley Post, who was referenced in yesterday's puzzle, was a very well-known eye-patch-wearing aviator whose fame was eclipsed when the plane he was flying with the beloved social and political commentator Will Rogers as a passenger went down in Alaska. Both died immediately. This was a tragedy of tremendous significance at the time, though likely largely forgotten now. It is interesting how, I've thought about this before, how there are moments when individual people who were really particularly emblematic of their eras die in some kind of unusual circumstance like this. And it's absolutely massive, earth-shattering sort of news at the time. And then often it kind of fades out of the public consciousness because presumably those people were such particular emblems of their time that the notoriety of the event also kind of fades with that time to some extent. But thank you very much for that explanation. And let's see, Jacob Greenwood says, Chris correctly identified that Tesla's preferred form of electricity was alternating current, while Edison's was direct current, but incorrectly said Edison's direct current won out. Tesla's alternating current power won the current war. All of the household and commercial and most of the industrial power used around the world today is AC. AC power is much easier to generate through mechanical means, such as a generator, and is better for long-distance power transmission. DC represents a sizable fraction of modern loads, such as LED lighting, powering computer equipment, and charging batteries. Some envision a world where Edison won out, which would have required a much more distributed power grid due to DC's transmission limitations. It is worth noting that converting from alternating current to direct current is much more efficient than converting from direct current to alternating current. Thank you. Apologies for that grievous error, but I very much appreciate the explanation. And I suppose I was thinking of battery charging and things like that, and I must have just kind of extended that erroneously. Jacob Green says solfege, which is the do re mi fa sol la ti do scale I mentioned yesterday, is used to help train oral skills by using the sol fa scale. There are hand gestures that correspond with each pitch. All right, that's the bit I didn't know. The idea being that the hand gestures will help cement the relationship of the pitches in some kinesthetic way. In practice, the choir would sight read and rehearse the piece in solfege first. The words of the piece would be added in later once the music was well known. All right, thank you for that explanation. So that, I guess, wasn't a correction so much as it was just a further explanation, which is very interesting. And finally, Spikel Thing explains that the hero in Braveheart, played by Mel Gibson, was William Wallace. I should have guessed William Wallace. I think I guessed Robert the Bruce, which I think was actually a pretty reasonable guess because Robert the Bruce would have been a contemporary of William Wallace. So I think fair play to me, given I've not seen Braveheart. Anyway, Spikel Thing continues. William Wallace was, of course, a Scottish knight who became one of the main leaders during the First War of Scottish Independence. He defeated an English army at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, but was defeated at the Battle of Falkirk in 1298 and was hung, drawn, and quartered for high treason by Edward I. There is a monument in the hills near Stirling called the Wallace Monument, which I visited a few times as I live nearby. And then there was a nice little discussion here. Ald Futer replied and said, I've never watched Braveheart, but I remember my cousin, who is a history professor, saying it was quite dreadful factually. And Spikel Thing replied and said, indeed it was. In the film, Wallace had an affair with the wife of Edward II, son of Edward I, and the film implied that Wallace was the father of Edward III, if I recall correctly. However, Edward III was born in 1312 and Wallace died in 1305. So there we have it. Not a film to watch for its historical merit, I suppose. And yes, there we go. So anyway, Battle of Stirling Bridge and the Battle of Falkirk, battles relevant to William Wallace, and then Robert the Bruce, probably best known for the Battle of Bannockburn, I want to say, and is memorialized in various places for that as well, and would have been also participated in the in that same war after William Wallace. Anyway, there we go. So I'm going to take it as a half credit for my guessing of Robert the Bruce, and then move on. And that's that for yesterday's puzzle, and that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be back tomorrow for the Monday crossword, which will be much quicker than this. Should be a nice approachable puzzle with an ordinary sized grid, but still a theme. It should be another simple theme. Well, not that today's was simple per se, but there should be a good, approachable puzzle tomorrow, and I hope you join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.